My name is Arden. What was supposed to be a relaxing escape turned into chaos the moment my family vanished, leaving me stranded with my 5-year-old niece at a busy airport. No calls, no warnings, and suddenly, I was thrown into the unexpected role of protector and problem solver. The little girl clung to me like a lifeline, and I was forced to face not just frantic airport crowds, but family secrets unraveling in real time. What happened to my sister? Why was I left to pick up the pieces? This was no ordinary vacation, it was the start of a gripping journey I never expected. My name is Arden. I had been counting down the days to this vacation, an escape from the endless noise of daily life, a chance to breathe, reset, and soak in the sun on the California coast. The bags were packed, the itinerary planned. But what I didn't expect was a family betrayal that would turn my escape into a nightmare at the airport. It started with a simple family trip idea. My sister had promised to join me, with her 5-year-old daughter, Lily. A bonding time for all of us, or so I thought. We booked our flights, carefully coordinating schedules, imagining carefree days filled with laughter and beachside strolls. But the moment we landed at the bustling airport, everything changed. The other passengers rushed past, chasing their own connections and goodbyes, and then my sister disappeared into thin air. I waited, confused at first, then worried as minutes ticked by and no sign of her anywhere. My phone buzzed with no messages, my calls unanswered. Lily, clutching her little backpack with wide, anxious eyes, tugged at my hand. "Where's Mommy, Arden?" she whispered, voice trembling. The crowd was a chaotic symphony, rolling suitcases clattered, announcements blared, and strangers brushed past, unaware of the crisis unfolding in our small corner. I bent down, meeting Lily's fearful gaze with a forced smile. "Mommy had to take care of something important, honey. But I'm here now, and we're going to have fun, okay?" I wasn't just comforting a scared child, I was steeling myself. I realized then that my role had shifted from aunt to protector, caretaker, and nightmare solver all in one. I paced the waiting area, scanning for anyone familiar, our family or friends who might know where my sister had vanished to, but no luck. Each passing minute ratcheted up the tension, and my phone remained silent. In the midst of the buzz, undeniable truths crept into my mind. Why would she leave us like this? Was it an emergency, or was there something she wasn't telling me? Determined not to panic, I pulled out my phone and started making calls, each ring a fragile thread of hope. My family at home was as stunned as I was. No one knew where my sister was or what had happened. Lily clung to me, quiet but wide-eyed, her small fingers gripping mine like a lifeline. The airport suddenly felt enormous and cold, a maze with no clear way out. Hours passed with agonizing slowness. A mix of helplessness and anger bloomed inside me. I was supposed to be on vacation, but instead, I was trapped, responsible for a frightened child, alone with no answers, and a family that seemed to have vanished into thin air. Suddenly, a decision hardened within me. I would not wait helplessly. I grabbed a map, pulled up flight records, and began tracking every possible clue. If my sister was hiding a secret or in trouble, I would find out. If Lily needed me, I'd be her shield against anything. The airport lounge lights flickered as the day shifted to night, and I found us a corner with charging ports and comfortable seats. I wrapped a soft jacket around Lily's small shoulders, trying to make this strange, intimidating place feel a little safer. She finally fell asleep, her breathing slow and steady. I sat back, exhaustion creeping in but my mind racing. What had started as a promise of escape had spiraled into chaos, and there was no clear end. The vacation was gone, but the fight had only just begun. The next morning dawned cold and gray as the airport buzzed back to life around us. Lily stirred awake, rubbing her sleepy eyes but clutching my hand tightly like a lifeline. The world outside seemed far away, her mother still nowhere in sight, the unanswered questions pressing heavier than ever. I knew I couldn't sit waiting any longer. After a restless night, I pulled myself together and decided that if my sister had vanished, I would become the one to find her, for Lily's sake and my own. I plugged in my phone and started calling every contact I could think of, family members, friends, even neighbors. The answers? Mostly silence or the dreaded, "We don't know where she is." One cousin told me she'd heard rumors that my sister had been under a lot of stress lately, that the pressures of motherhood and work had pushed her to the edge. But no one had any concrete information. Determined not to lose hope, I contacted the airline desk on a hunch. Maybe my sister had taken a different flight, or something had happened during the transfer. The airline agent checked the flight records and told me she hadn't boarded the connecting flight as planned. She was still missing in the system. My heart pounded. Why would she disappear without contacting any of us? And more urgently, was she in trouble? Meanwhile, I kept watching Lily closely. The little girl took the confusion in stride better than I expected. She asked questions but never voiced complaint. Her resilience was a small, stubborn flame lighting a dark situation. To distract her, I bought a small toy from a gift shop and we wandered the terminals, chatting quietly about school, her favorite cartoon, and the ice cream she hoped to have once this ordeal was over. As we walked, I saw other families reunited in tearful embraces, every hug a sharp contrast to the emptiness I felt. I clenched my jaw, pushing back the swell of bitterness that threatened to break me. That afternoon, my phone rang. It was a detective, a family friend who had been granted permission to look into my sister's disappearance. "My sister's missing," I explained in a shaking voice. "She left Lily and me here without a word." He promised to start inquiries immediately, checking hospitals, local shelters, social services, and even reviewing phone records. His calm professionalism was a welcome anchor in the storm. Over the next 24 hours, the investigation unfolded. Phone traces showed my sister had made a frantic call near the airport but had then gone silent. Security cameras caught her entering a nearby coffee shop but not leaving. I felt like I was chasing shadows. Sleep became a distant memory. I kept watch over Lily, fielded endless calls, and paced airport corridors, fighting the panic closing in. Then came a call that electrified the tension, a tip that my sister had been seen leaving a downtown hotel late at night, accompanied by a man no one in the family knew. Was this new figure a friend, foe, or something else entirely? I realized then my family's perfect image had cracks so wide they swallowed secrets whole. Determined to protect Lily from the storm, I steeled myself for the next step. No matter where this path led, I would face it head-on. The airport, once a place of escape, had become the battleground for survival, truth, and unexpected courage. And in the heart of this chaos, my bond with Lily grew, a fierce thread of love anchoring me through the unknown. With every passing hour, the question grew louder in my mind: where was my sister? Why had she left us stranded in the chaos of the airport with Lily clutching my hand, innocent and confused? The silence from her was a constant thunder inside the walls of my heart. The detective assigned to our case arrived with calm urgency. He explained that the investigation would now follow a structured process, designed to chase every lead and leave no stone unturned. First came the initial report. The moment my sister was officially declared missing, her details entered into various missing person databases, including the National Crime Information Center. Exact information was critical: the full name, date of birth, all possible aliases, and the last known location, which in this case was precisely where we stood. The detective took meticulous notes, asking questions about my sister's habits, relationships, mental health, any signs of trouble, and who last saw her. Even minute details mattered: the last places she visited, the people she had spoken to, texts or emails sent. Then came the canvassing. Officers traced the path of her latest steps, checking nearby hotels, surveillance footage from the airport and surrounding businesses, questioning staff and patrons. The coffee shop she was seen entering became a critical place of interest. Phone records were subpoenaed, revealing a frantic call from a blocked number near the airport hours before she vanished. Digital footprints were tracked to find her last social media activity, messages, and any unusual contacts. To rule out medical emergencies, hospitals and clinics in the area were contacted. No admissions matching her profile were found. The search stretched into shelters and community centers, a web of places anyone in distress might seek refuge. These efforts were exhaustive, each day bringing a flicker of hope or a wave of despair. Meanwhile, I watched Lily closely, balancing the anguish of uncertainty with the fierce need to protect her childhood innocence. DNA samples were discussed as a precaution, just in case identification was ever needed. It was a strange new world to enter, the mechanics of disappearance investigations, and it felt both overwhelming and oddly necessary. A family liaison officer was assigned to keep me updated regularly. We arranged meetings to discuss progress, clarify questions, and share any new information the detectives uncovered. As days blurred into a week, one thing became clear: my sister's disappearance was not simple. The involvement of an unknown man seen leaving with her raised urgent, troubling questions. Was she running from danger? Was this man a friend or foe? Each theory twisted in my mind, each silence from my sister adding layers of fear. The airport, where our nightmare began, had become the map of a puzzle that demanded pieces I didn't yet have. But through it all grew the fierce bond between Lily and me, a tether of love and protection stronger than any dark secret hovering over our family. And as the investigation deepened, I realized our journey was no longer just about finding my sister, it was about finding strength and truth in the face of unraveling lives. Days turned into a relentless chase against time. The detectives' updates came with urgency, every hour mattered in a disappearance case, especially involving a child. The first 48 hours were crucial, and the tension was suffocating. We learned that the airport's extensive surveillance footage was being reviewed frame by frame. Investigators questioned witnesses who might have seen my sister after she left the coffee shop. Every detail, no matter how small, could piece together her last movements. Phone and credit card records revealed brief but frantic activity. She had withdrawn cash at a nearby ATM, then sent a series of texts that abruptly stopped. Rumors spread like wildfire among the small circle of family and friends. Were these signs of danger, a cry for help, or something far more mysterious? Meanwhile, I juggled keeping Lily safe and calm, dodging the relentless flood of calls from journalists and well-meaning strangers. The airport, once a symbol of freedom, became a cage I couldn't escape. On the fourth day, a security guard came forward with a new lead. They had seen a woman matching my sister's description getting into a black SUV with tinted windows. The mysterious man spotted on the hotel video was inside. Fear twisted inside me, but I forced myself to remain focused. The police expanded their search radius to include the areas around the hotel and city outskirts. I turned to social media, starting a campaign to spread the word, asking for any information, pleading for my sister to come home. Sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. My mind raced through every possible scenario. Was she hiding? Being held against her will? Or suffering a crisis beyond our understanding? Yet through it all, Lily's small hand in mine was a reminder, someone needed me to be strong. I realized that this was no ordinary family crisis. It was a complex puzzle submerged in darkness, with stakes higher than I had ever imagined. The search stretched broader, but my resolve grew fiercer. I would find her. No matter what it took. The reality of a missing person investigation hit me like a tidal wave. The detective explained that the first 48 to 72 hours were critical, every second could mean the difference between safety and danger. The clock was ticking, and the pressure was unbearable. After filing the official missing person report, my sister's information was immediately entered into databases accessible to law enforcement nationwide. The search was now a coordinated effort involving multiple agencies. The investigative team began by reviewing every shred of evidence. Surveillance footage from the airport and nearby locations was scrutinized frame by frame. Witnesses who saw my sister were re-interviewed, hoping to uncover new details about her movements. Phone records revealed a final frantic call before silence. Text messages abruptly stopped, creating a chilling gap in communication. Credit card activity showed cash withdrawn but no further spending, suggesting she disappeared on foot or was taken somewhere. The officers canvassed the area surrounding the airport and hotel, speaking with local businesses and residents, seeking anyone who might have seen or heard something unusual. The mysterious man seen on the hotel surveillance became a key person of interest. Authorities worked to identify him, expanding their search radius and requesting public assistance. I delved into social media, sharing my sister's photo and details to raise awareness and gather tips. Each passing hour weighed heavier on me as sleepless nights piled up. The burden of responsibility for Lily intensified. I was her protector amidst an unfolding nightmare. The threat felt real and immediate. Investigators warned that missing person cases involving children were especially urgent due to the risks involved. Despite fear and uncertainty, I grew determined to fight with every resource at hand. This was no longer just a search, it was a race against time to bring my sister back to safety. The tension thickened as days crawled by with frustrating slowness. My sister was still missing, and the silence was deafening. Yet behind the scenes, the investigation took a troubling turn, revealing secrets that darkened the story beyond anything I had imagined. It started with an unexpected phone call from the detective. His tone was grave. "Arden, there's something you need to know before the family finds out." My heart pounded with dread. A background check on the mysterious man seen with my sister turned up a complicated picture. He wasn't who anyone expected. A stranger to the family, his name connected to a tangled web of financial troubles, shady business dealings, and rumors of recent threats against my sister. The truth settled like a stone in my stomach. My sister hadn't fled a personal crisis alone, she was tangled in something dangerous, something she hadn't shared with us. Lily's innocent questions became sharper, sensing the heaviness around us. "Why is Mommy not back yet?" she asked one night, eyes wide with confusion and fear. I held her close, swallowing a lump of pain. "Mommy's going through some hard things, but we're going to get her back." Days later, a breakthrough broke the nightmare's grip. A witness came forward, claiming to have seen my sister arguing with the man in a secluded part of the city days before she disappeared. The argument was fierce, filled with anger and fear. The police widened their search to include his known associates and locations tied to his businesses. The threads were pulling tight, but so were the dangers. I realized the battle was no longer just about missing loved ones but confronting shadows feeding on secrets and fear. I forged ahead, digging into my sister's recent life, determined to find any clue she might have left, any message hidden in her past. Family meetings grew strained. My calls home brought nothing but rumors and whispered theories. Some blamed my sister for disappearing, others feared the consequences of unveiling too much. But I kept Lara, a close friend of my sister's, by my side. She revealed cracks in my sister's perfect image: stress, debt, threats, and isolation masked by family smiles. A hidden world fraught with danger. Our search evolved into a delicate balancing act, protecting Lily, helping the police, and navigating family storm clouds while trying to hold on to hope. One night, I sat by Lily's bedside, watching her sleep, and made a silent vow: no matter the darkness, no matter the secrets, I would bring my sister home. Not just for Lily's sake but to confront whatever shadows threatened to destroy us all. And so the story stretched onward, more dangerous, more complex, but fueled by love, determination, and a fierce refusal to give up on family. The tension of those endless days had settled into a quiet but fierce determination deep in my bones. Lily and I continued to live in the liminal space between hope and despair, carrying the weight of a family shattered by secrets and shadows. But it was in this darkest hour that the truth finally began to show its face, raw, painful, and liberating all at once. One evening, late after Lily had fallen asleep, my phone buzzed with a message from the detective: "We've found her." My heart flipped, breath caught in my throat. "Where?" I typed, fingers trembling. "In a safe house, under protection. She's shaken but alive. We need you there now." I didn't hesitate. Grabbing my coat, I woke Lily gently, whispered hurried plans, and rushed to the police station to be reunited with my sister and finally piece together what had happened. Seeing my sister for the first time in weeks was a surreal moment. She looked smaller somehow, drained and fragile but alive. Her eyes held a storm of fear and regret. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, breaking into tears. I was scared. I didn't know how to ask for help. She told us about debts from a failed business venture with that man, how threats had escalated, and her desperate attempt to escape the danger, only to find herself trapped in a nightmare worse than she could handle. Her disappearance was a shield, for herself and for Lily. A cruel necessity to protect both from falling deeper into harm's way. But her plan had unraveled quickly, and it was the kindness of a stranger who alerted authorities, leading to her rescue. The family secrets spilled out, painful but cleansing. Forgiveness wouldn't come easily, but understanding began to fill the empty spaces. In the weeks that followed, we rebuilt slowly. Counseling became a foundation for healing, family therapy helped mend broken connections. Lily's laughter, once silenced by fear, returned in bursts of joyous light. We returned home to California's sunlit beaches, but our perspective had changed. Each wave echoed resilience, each sunset a promise of new beginnings. My vacation had turned into the most challenging journey of my life. But in the crucible of crisis, I discovered depths of strength I never knew I had. Together, Lily, my sister, and I found a way forward, not defined by betrayal and fear, but by relentless love and hope. This wasn't the vacation I wanted. It was the story I needed.